Yes, this is Clark from Newman Police Department in California.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Go ahead.
How you doing?
Yes, sir.
This is Officer Newman PD
Yes, sir.
in California.
Uh-huh.
And, well, I'll let you talk to my partner. Okay, I think we were on patrol, back here. It's about 3 in the morning.
Right.
And we noticed lights to our east. And it was just hovering over a field about 500 feet. And we were about 60 feet away, and we had to go around the block. And by the time we came around the block, he started moving. And, it just disappeared.
Okay. Then that's all you could see with the lights?
That's it.
It had 2 red lights and 1 blue light. It was in a triangular type shape.
I see.
And it took off at speed that you can't believe. We chased it, and it just vanished before we could even round another corner. And I spent 20 years in the service, 14 in the Air Force, and never seen anything move so fast in my life. It's unbelievable. We were reading your reports, and I said, well, maybe we ought to report it. I don't know. But I've never believed in this until now. Because this thing just fascinates me to no end.
Okay, now, were these lights absolutely stationary?
Yeah, it was absolutely stationary. My partner, the one on the other line there, he said that, he said, hey, what's that red and blue light up there? And I saw somebody must have put up a new antenna. Let's go check it out. And it was just actually on the street that I live on. And we went, what is that, about 50, 60 feet? Yeah. And it started moving. And I thought, hey, that damn thing's moving. And we took off around the corner. And as we rounded the corner, we seen it go. And we went in pursuit for maybe about 2 miles. Mm-hmm. And it just plain disappeared. And there was absolutely no sound. It was just fantastic.
Uh-huh.
So I said, well, maybe we better report it. They'll think we're nuts, but we report it anyway.
Okay. What time did you spot that?
At about 2, let's see, we left the sergeant off at 2:20, about 2:20, I'd say, yeah.
Okay.
And it headed southeast out of our area.
Okay.
We're in the San Joaquin Valley.
Okay, I'd like to get your names.
Okay. We even shut off the headlights to our units because I told them, I said, douse some lights, I want to take a look at it. And it was just, it's just like some speed that I just can't describe. It was just unbelievable.
And this thing was on the move when you saw it actually disappear?
When it disappeared, it was stopped when we saw it. It was
Right.
hanging there about 500 or 600 feet up.
Right.
And like I said, we thought somebody had erected a new antenna. And then as we came around off of Amy Drive onto that street.
Eucalyptus?
Yeah, onto Hardin. Is it Hardin that goes in there? What's the one that goes across the engine?
That's Driscoll.
Driscoll, yeah. I told you, hey, that damn thing's starting to move. And we rounded, which is just a very short distance, maybe 50, 60 feet around the corner there. And as we rounded the corner, Eucalyptus, it took off, and we went after it. And I told my partner to get a douse of lights because I wanted to see it. And it just disappeared to the southeast like you wouldn't believe. It's
okay.
Fascinating.
Do you have any estimate as to how far apart those lights were positioned?
Well, just from where we were looking at it, we were looking at it from Amy Drive, I'd say about 20, 30 feet. Yeah. And it was triangular shaped type thing.
Okay.
Now, the PG&E power company is right behind it, right where it was at. There's a great big field where it was hanging over, and then just at the end of that field is a PG&E power company. So I thought maybe they'd rigged a new beacon up there for the aircraft from a little field here. But there was absolutely no sound. The windows were open. We just dropped the sergeant off. There was absolutely no sound at all. And man, that son of a bitch just took off like I can't believe.
Okay, now would that be a power plant, generating plant?
Yeah, right.
Okay, great. I'm glad you mentioned that. Okay, did you have
it? It controls the power for this whole area, don't it? Yeah, PG&E site there. Uh-huh.
Did you have any problems with your vehicle or radio during that period?
It was so damn fascinating. I didn't even notice the radio. Did you? I didn't either. I just couldn't take my eyes off this thing.
Okay.
Wait a minute. The dispatch is something. What'd you say, babe? I think it was 220, right after we dropped Sergeant Cunningham. What was you saying about this? It was before that. We weren't coming through? Anyway, dispatcher says we ran a check just about that same time. time or shortly after, and we had to repeat it. She couldn't copy it here, but I don't know. I was just so fascinated in this thing, I wanted to chase it, but hell, no way.
Okay. Now, is that within the city of Modesto?
No, it's the city of Newman.
Newman, okay.
27 miles south of Modesto.
Okay.
Southwest of Modesto.
Okay.
We're right off of I-5.
Okay, gentlemen. Well, we sure appreciate you reporting this. And
Okay.
we'll check this out, and if we come up with any additional information on it, we'll get back to you and let you know.
Yeah, we went out to we had a little small dirt runway out here, and we went out there, and I told you, let me check, make sure somebody's flying around. But we would have heard noise. Of course, like I say, this thing was definitely stopped. There's no two ways about it. And I said all the years I spent in the service, I never seen anything move like it. So.
Did it leave any trail or anything when it went away?
Not that I noticed. I was just so damn anxious to get my partner to get going so I could get a good look at it, but it just disappeared so fast. It's unbelievable.
Right, okay. Okay, I thank you again.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Right.
I'm Mr. in Pleasanton, California.
Yes, sir.
And my family and I believe we saw something that's unusual in the sky. Over our skies here, just in our skies, I should say, about 10 to 15 minutes ago.
Okay.
We've never seen anything like it before.
I'd like to hear about it.
Well, we heard a whirling noise. My wife did. Sound like a bee swarming. And it's pretty chilly around here, and there's no bee swarming this time of year, I guess. Anyhow, so I had to get up to go to the bathroom, and it's going to sound sort of silly, but it looked like lights flashing up on the hill, which would be like police emergency lights or helicopter lights or something like that, you know. And as I looked out the window, wondering why the lights were so, flashing so brightly, then I determined it was some kind of object hovering in the sky, which I first again thought was a helicopter. And then as I called my wife to come and look at it too, we realized it was moving along, just making sort of a low whirring noise and just sort of flashing these lights off and on. And we ran outside to get a glimpse as it was going east of us here, east of Pleasanton, moving towards the town of Livermore. And then it seemed to hover over the gravel pits, which is north and east of us here, or mainly east of Pleasanton. And then we lost track of it, just seemed to disappear. Faded away, really.
Yes.
We're up on a hill, and yet there's still a house between us and the object, and it was just above the house at that point, so it could have, just white flashes of light and just making sort of a whirling noise, and it appeared to be sort of triangular shape with light sort of at the extremities and at the apex of the top.
Okay, what color were those lights?
I could just make out the lights to be flashing white lights.
Okay.
And my family says, my wife and my 16-year-old boy indicate they saw green and red lights. I'm not too sure whether they thought they were flashing or not.
Okay. Any estimate of size of that object?
Big. Oh, that thing was big. Okay. Let me tell you, this would be a rough guess. I would say it would be the size of a Goodyear blimp.
Okay.
It was long, and it was tall. It had to be tall because of a light marking the top of it. And, really don't know what else to tell you. Just unusual. I've been looking at the skies for years. I'm a weatherman from years of experience, years ago anyways, and I'm used to looking at the skies. I guess I sort of have a trained eye, but I've never seen anything like this.
Okay. Any estimate of altitude above the ground?
Yes, it would appear to be, and we might have been thrown off by, the nighttime and everything else, but it would appear to have been at first anyways maybe about, a couple hundred feet above the ground, 200 or 300 feet maybe.
Okay. Did you continue to hear the sound during the entire observation?
I couldn't. Not after it started moving off when I was looking out the bathroom window. and I could still hear it low. But then when we ran outside, it had moved eastward, and I couldn't hear any whirling noise. My ears aren't the best anymore. But I can't pick up all the high and low ranges. But we heard it when we saw it moving off, but once we got outside in the front yard, I couldn't hear it. I don't know if the family heard it at that point. They shake their head and say no, they couldn't hear it then.
Okay, what was the duration of the observation?
About 8 minutes.
Okay.
Now, the light flashing came before I actually saw the object. Very, very, very bright. I thought it was lightning at first. I didn't mention it at first, but that's what I did think it was first. And then I remembered there had been an accident about 2 blocks from us where police emergency vehicles had been earlier. But that was quite a while back, and I was wondering why it took them so long.
Uh-huh.
Then wondering why it took them so long, I said, well, it couldn't be police emergency because that should have been cleared up an hour ago. So, and then another thing, that was 2 blocks away and not right up on the hill either. So then that's the reason I looked out and I couldn't, piece together these huge, just big, blinding flashing light and, like on a synchronized light, on, off, on, off. But it was too bright, like it wasn't a helicopter searchlight, because we see them around here. And this thing was huge. That's the thing that I called my wife. I said, I don't believe this, because the darn thing was so long. And I couldn't put an estimate on the size exactly, other than to say it would have to be approximately the size of something like the Goodyear blimp in length, because we know what that looks like when it comes floating by and, the lights are displayed on the side.
Right.
It just sort of floated along and whirled along. Well, that's about it, really.
Okay. Any estimate on distance?
Well, it had to be hovering over the top of our hill, so when it was first here, I would estimate, and of course it's just got to be the roughest of estimates, that it must have been between, let's say, 300 to 500 feet hovering over the hill and just a little bit north of the hill. So, what would that be? Maybe 1/8 of a mile away from where we are or something?
Okay. Did it maintain a steady flight path? Was there any
It was almost like if you take a Frisbee and then just before it starts to lose its speed, it still maintains its height and it's sort of floating at that point, and then it drops.
Okay.
That's exactly how it was. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's sure how it seemed like.
Did those flashes of light illuminate the ground?
Yes.
Okay.
But not in like a spotlight kind of illuminating. It was just a broad, like, heat lightning or something on that line.
Right.
Very, very bright. As a matter of fact, I could hardly look at it.
Did you have a chance to use binoculars?
No. As a matter of fact, my boy's the one that had them, and we had to roust him out of bed.
Okay. Did other than the sound, did you have any other strange occurrences prior to spotting that object?
No, not except my wife is the one that told me that she heard a whirling noise, and that probably came about 5 to 6 minutes before I got up to investigate. Before I got up to go to the bathroom.
Right.
Okay. But I wondered about the noise at the same time, but I didn't really think too much about it. And it was just a strange noise that was sort of like a low hum.
Okay. Did you turn your lights on in your residence at all?
No.
Okay.
Did not. It wasn't a matter of not wanting to, just didn't need to,
right.
At the time.
Did you by any chance hear any unusual barking of dogs outdoors while this was going on?
I don't know. I don't think we did. Did you hear any barking of the dogs? No. I would say no. No, we didn't. We have a little puppy here, and he was jumping around, but mainly because we were excited.
Okay.
No. I would say no offhand.
All right.
I sure hope what we saw was what we saw, and not just some unusual kind of helicopter or something, but it couldn't have been a helicopter unless they've got a new helicopter about 100 yards long or something about as big as a Goodyear blimp.
Right. Okay, well, if we get any additional information on it, why, we'll get back to you and let you know.
Okay, thank you much, sir.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
This is Marina, California, right outside of Fort Ord.
Yes.
My wife and I were coming back from San Francisco. We was on Highway 1 going south toward Fort Ord. We were stationed there. And my wife noticed, as I did also, when we slowed the car down, it's kind of looked like a hovering or some type of a platform right above us. It had kind of a triangular shape to it, if not more or less like a boomerang, what my wife described it as. And we turned around and went back to check out the immediate sighting of it. And we noted it was going off, in the opposite direction. We followed it for about 4 or 5 miles onto the Fort Ord Reservation. It wasn't exactly over Fort Ord, but we could see it. We knew the area well enough to follow it in that direction. And we noticed, too, that the lighting set up on it was just, normal lights on your airplanes, all different kind of colors, but these were kind of just red, and then there was one white, which gave way to kind of an undercarriage. And, we called into the air traffic approach here at Monterey Airport, and they had nothing listed on their sighting.
I see.
But we followed it up for about a half an hour and watched it go up into the sky. Here it was clear with overcast, and even when it went into the overcast, it still projected light. But just thought we'd call it in.
Okay, now when it was moving away from you, which direction was it going?
Well, from us, it would be heading in a southerly direction towards Southern California in this respect. Southeastern direction.
Okay, and which direction were you driving, north or south?
We were driving north to south.
North to south, okay.
And Highway Coast Road, Highway 1.
And where was the object when you first spotted it? That is, in what part of the sky?
Normally, like you see something in the sky, it's on, kind of high, just like a star would be.
Yes.
Along that line. My wife, we saw it crossing. She saw it first, and she saw, just an aircraft, a low-flying aircraft. And then when I spotted on my driver's side, I just had to look straight up, just kind of veer over toward my windshield or my window on the side where I was driving. And you could see it plain as day, and it wasn't moving. You know how you're driving or you're moving away from an object and it's stationary.
Right.
It either gets smaller with the distance you're going away or whatever.
Yes.
And, it just stayed right there, and then she watched it, and I slowed down so we could come across the island where the highway was and go back up toward it. We noticed it veering off into the trees, and then as we stopped, I passed the area where we saw it and backed up, and before we could make any real other identification, it was hovering away toward the southeast or southwest direction.
Okay, do you have any idea of just how close you got to that object?
Well, just from the first side of it, like I say, my wife said there was 2 or 3 red lights, and I only saw 2 red lights and 1 white. And from what the white projection was, it looked like an undercarriage, some type of an aircraft, whatever. It wasn't a case of being a saucer or anything like this, but the white lended to the shape that it would be in.
I see.
So the outline was definite, to where it's kind of a triangular pyramid, this type of thing.
Right. Do you have any idea, did this appear metallic?
Just a moment. What, Kate? Right, I would think to say it would seem metallic. The whites would really, gave me the impression anyway that, hey, wow, this is really a definite shape. And I thought maybe it was a communications platform, but we've passed this place numerous times, day and night. Never noticed any radio communication towers there or have been erected at this time. Kind of,
Do you have any estimate of size?
Oh. Hey, Kate? For a minute. My wife said, it was big enough to be an airplane, from the distance that we were from it. You can take your thumb and blot out the sun just looking at it.
Right.
This was, I'd say as big as the sun, by blotting it out with your thumb.
Okay.
And when it took off, it moved at a very rapid pace to where the blinking lights it moved so swiftly that
some kind?
Right.
Okay.
And we saw it, tracing it on down the highway. It had kind of a zigzag pattern.
Uh-huh.
And then we noted when it would stop, and then move on at its own pace, stop again. And then we noticed near the Monterey Airport where air traffic was there, we saw a few airplanes flying. And as the thing went up into the overcast, the zigzagging and the aircraft that was leaving the Monterey Airport, whether it had anything to do with it or not, and approaching the same immediate area or near the, just looking in the sky, you'd see drawing toward each other.
Yes.
Then it disappeared.
Uh-huh. Did you notice any problems with your vehicle when that object was in sight?
Not that I noted. We had discussed this ourselves. We said, wow, here we are tracing this thing. That's all we need, something to take over the powers of the car or whatever, type of thing. And we actually, I guess, got a little hyper for the fact that, the similarities. We saw some lights that were what we were looking at. We thought, wow, we said, hey, this thing's coming back.
Uh-huh.
Like maybe it had a sensory device or something that since we saw it, this type of thing.
Yes.
And, we'd follow that down, end up to be radio towers in the immediate area. But, we just kept thinking, we've seen a few of the other write-ups and things they've had on UFOs.
Right.
We've seen one of the two latter films that were just released on it, one of the motion pictures and things. It's kind of very interesting. She's the one that cited it on the spot.
Did this upset you quite a bit?
Enough to say that this incident in San Jose here about 2 months back, where the people said that they wanted to meet a number of people who wanted to go, this type of thing.
Yes.
If that was a true incident, I think we'd be prospects, that had to be to go test it out.
Yes.
I do believe, my wife and I believe not so much in the hereafter, but there's things out there, and we can't understand or comprehend, but be willing to take a beam up and check it out. That type of situation, as long as you weren't harmed or whatever.
Right. Would you fill out a questionnaire if we send it down to you?
I think so.
Okay. And in the meantime, would you make some notes of this so you don't forget?
Right, we put it on paper and we sketched out what we saw.
Oh, fine. Excellent.
And we got the weather that we saw and the time and the day. Projections as far as what directions and things of this nature.
Okay, and that was seen this evening, right?
Right, it was seen at, I'd say about 8:45 this evening.
Okay. We sure appreciate your calling, and we'll get that questionnaire in the mail.
Okay, real fine. Thank
and
you
if we get any more information on this particular incident, we'll get back to you and let you know.
Okay, real fine.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Calling from Orange County, California.
Yes.
And I'm standing here at the drive-in movie here, and a friend of mine and I have observed at least 12 what appears to us to be unidentified objects within the last 20 minutes. And we've got one that's under our observation right now, and it's been there. It's moved to us about, okay, I think somebody's already come. But anyway, it's in our vision now, and it's been here for a good 15, 20 minutes, hovering within what appears to us to be a 20-foot radius in the sky,
Uh-huh.
And we've seen at least 12 other ones that's come right over the drive-in, kind of all heading in the same direction, and all looking basically the same. Like there's a white light on the left, a white light on the right, like a red light in the middle, and like a turquoise maybe towards the front. And I didn't know who to report it to, and I got this number from the police department.
Okay, can you make out an object that's these lights are attached to?
We can't. Okay. We can't. They aren't close enough that we can observe the shape of the object.
Uh-huh.
It appears from viewing it from the distance we are that it's well, I don't know, like triangular, or it could be round. I don't know. But it's like a white light on the left, a white light on the right, and a red light flickering in the middle, and then a turquoise light flickering in the front.
I see.
And there's been 12 of them, I know for sure, that we've counted, and there's one, like I say, hovering right over us. Well, not right directly over us, but a little distance with a treetop, and it's moved about 20 feet away from that treetop, but it's still hovering there.
Okay. Now, are all these objects traveling essentially in the same direction?
Yeah, well, they were like, starting out, we were observing them all heading the east from where we're at here. We were all heading in an eastern direction. And then they started, a couple of them, well, it might have been, we might have seen the same one over a couple times, I don't know, because they started circling around. And then, they were circling around, and a couple of them circled around and started heading west, and then there was some more that had circled completely around, made a complete circle, and headed back east again.
Okay. Then in all of these, all you could see were the lights themselves.
Yeah, and they're all, let me see another one. They're all the same light pattern on them, with a flickering red light, a flickering turquoise light, and two bright lights on either side.
Right. Okay. Now, when did you spot the first one?
When?
Yeah.
I would say approximately 20 or 25 minutes ago.
Okay. Quite a few people watching these?
Well, I don't know. We're standing out there. We're at a drive-in, and we haven't been, seen anybody standing outside their cars. We haven't really looked to see. We've been looking at the sky for about 20 minutes. People probably think we're crazy.
Okay. Now, other than the one that circled and turned, went back where it came from, were they all traveling straight flight paths?
They're all traveling like at a pretty good clip, except there's some of them that aren't moving that fast, and it's like we're standing there watching them, and it's like they're moving along, but then they'll dart or they'll drop, fast and move, and not always in a straight line. Some of them are just making like a beeline, and some of them are just kind of like I don't know how you say it, going back or to the right, to the left a little bit, dipping his wings, however you want to say it. I don't know.
Okay, how would you make a guess on the altitude? Is quite high or low?
How high would you estimate it to be? Would you say it was normal air travel level? It's lower than that, right? Okay, yeah, we did. We observed one that was wasn't just above treetop level, except it wasn't close enough to get to view it to say it was round or anything else.
Right.
And the rest of them are up. I can't judge distance in the air that much, but you definitely can see the lights. You definitely can see that there's a form, but not close enough. I mean, it's too high for a helicopter, because I've seen hundreds of helicopters around here. We live pretty close to an air base. And I've seen a lot of planes around here. And it appears that they're a little higher than that to me.
Okay. How are the sky conditions?
Oh, that's clear.
Clear, okay.
Yeah, that's where this one that's out there right now, we thought it was a star, because that's what it looks like. That's the distance it is from us.
I see.
It looks like one star. It isn't as close to us as the rest of them have been, where we could distinguish definitely four lights,
Right.
Okay, this one is like a star that's there flickering, but like a star. And the only way we know that it's not a star is because we're standing there in one position looking at it over the top of a tree, and in 20 minutes' time it's moved what appears to be, from us, like maybe 20 or 30 feet from the spot it started from,
Okay.
But it's still there.
We sure appreciate this report. We're going to get on it, and if we come up with any more information, we'll get back to you and let you know.
Okay.
Thanks very much. Bye.
It happened about 5 minutes ago. The radio announced it, and they said they didn't know if any more were around, and I sighted another one.
Okay. Where are you located?
Magnolia on Seattle, Washington.
Okay. Would you give us a description of what you saw?
It's sort of a triangle shape with a bright light in the front, two white lights on two wings, and then one red light in the middle.
What time did you see this?
What time is it now, do you know?
9:49.
About 9:30.
Okay. How long was it in view?
Well, it was going faster than the one I first saw that the radio announced. This one had just two red lights and then one white light, and this one was, what was the question again?
How long was it in view?
5 seconds maybe.
Uh-huh.
Were you outdoors when you saw this?
Yes, I first saw it when I ran out to see a better view of it.
How far away from you would you say it was?
Well, it's about as high as an airplane would be going to SeaTac from Magnolia.
Okay. It's heading north to south?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, no sound.
The first one had sort of an airplane sound, but the second one I didn't really hear. They passed each other. And...
Okay. And this just moved out of sight?
Yeah, it went over the Puget Sound.
I see. Okay.
Like it was landing or crashing or something. It was going down when I saw it last.
I see. In other words, it just dropped out of sight?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here I see it again. It's coming from the Puget Sound area over. This is the slow one going up the triangle with just 2 white lights and the red light in the middle. Looking out my window, I can see it coming over the Puget Sound area.
Heading south to north?
Let's see. Yeah.
Okay.
Toward Ballard. Yeah. He's not going as fast as the red one was. The red one usually goes under him or above him or right beside him. I can't spot the red one right now.
Are you watching these through binoculars by any chance?
No.
Okay.
But when we got a clear look when it went overhead, it was a triangle shape, this one. And the other one I think is the same shape. I'm not quite sure about that one.
Okay. Well, we sure appreciate your call. And where did you get our number?
I called the operator, and she told me to decide with police, and they gave me your number.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Bye now.
Police department.
Yes, sir.
And I had a UFO sighting night before last, and I just found your card.
Okay.
Said to report it.
Could we, now did you have this yourself?
Yes, I did. Myself and one other officer.
Okay, what you saw?
Yeah, it was about the size of a small one-story house. It was silver in color. It was metal. It looked metal. It was shaped in a perfect triangle, and it had 2 bright-colored white lights. It didn't have any blinking lights or any colored lights, but 2 extremely bright white lights, and one was at the tip of the triangle, and the other was in the center between the 2 tips at the other end.
Uh-huh. Okay, about what time did you see this?
About 10:30.
Okay. You know the exact date?
It would have been the evening of the 31st May.
About how far away was the object?
Oh, when we first saw it, it was 3 to 4 blocks. I'd say it was real close. It was, we have an airport that's up on a hill above the town, and we were on our way up to patrol the airport, and we looked up, and it was about the height of a low-flying plane, and it was right above the airport. And we went up to the airport, and it was going away from us at the time, heading to the northwest, and we watched it for between 15 and 30 minutes.
Okay. Now, regarding the object itself, did you notice any openings or protrusions of any kind?
No.
But you would say that it was definitely metallic?
Yeah, definitely metallic.
Did this thing perform any maneuvers or special motions of any kind?
Didn't seem to. It just seemed to go away, but it wasn't... Well, it was moving at a fast rate of speed, I guess, for it to be that big and disappear, but it wasn't moving at a supersonic speed or anything. Because we did watch it for quite a while. We documented it on our radio logs at our dispatch center here. I'm with the police department in Kemmerer. And we also called out a highway patrolman to go out and investigate it. We've had a lot of cattle mutilations
right
in this part of the country, and so we investigate all strange lights.
Okay, you didn't find anything in relation to cattle mutilations with this, did you?
Thus far, there hasn't been anything.
Okay. And you're an officer with the police there?
Right. I'm a police officer with the Kemmerer Police Department, and there was another officer with me when we spotted it.
This object at all times just moved away from you?
Right.
Okay.
It seemed to be stationary over the airport, and for a long time we thought it was stationary out in the distance. Come in. For a long time it seemed to be stationary in the distance. However, we finally determined that it was just, looked closer to the horizon because it was going away from us.
I see. Okay.
There was no noise, and it wasn't that high up, and it was going from east to west instead of to or from SeaTac.
I see. It looked like it had 2 headlights?
Yeah.
At first I thought they might be landing lights and stuff, but when I went over, it looked kind of had a funny shape. I couldn't quite make out the shape.
Kind of triangular oval-like.
My wife said it was kind of a triangle. It didn't quite go to a point, but she said it was kind of reminded her of a rounded-off triangle.
Oh, I see. About what time did this happen?
About 5 minutes ago.
That'd be about 7:45.
Yeah, and it was going east to west, and about 75th and Aurora is where we spotted it. And some other people looked too, but I don't know if they'll, call or not.
Were you in the car at the time?
No, we were coming out of the store, and my wife looked up and saw something, and she goes, "Wow, what the heck's that?" And it seemed kind of funny because I didn't hear any airplane motors, and I didn't hear any jet exhaust. It was kind of freaky.
Now, about just how long were you watching it?
We watched it for about 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, and then when it kind of got out of vision from, the top of the building, blocked it off, we walked out into the parking lot and looked, and it was gone.
Was this thing carrying any colored lights other than the two bright ones?
There was a blue, no, not a blue, but a red.
The ones that went underneath was kind of like they were pale opaque.
My wife said the ones underneath kind of looked like they were pale oblique, or kind of a pale blue.
Almost white. It was pale, and it had 4 red lights.
And it had 4 red lights.
4 red lights, okay.
Am I nuts, or does that sound like something else you've had before?
No, it's, you say it's triangular shaped, or?
My wife said she saw lights going all the way around it. I couldn't make it out quite that clear myself. I was kind of a little stunned. The red lights were moving around?
Airplane red lights.
Oh, yeah, airplane red lights kind of flash around, don't they? These weren't.
No, the
These
strobe.
were just steady.
The strobe light flashes, but the
These
colored
weren't even
lights.
flashing at all. They were just steady red.
Steady red all the way around.
No, there's how many? 4? My wife said she thinks there was 4 red ones, and there was a bunch of them going around the bottom of it, kind of in the shape of the craft, that were kind of a light blue, almost white.
Okay, and what do you figure the shape was again?
Kind of a rounded triangular shape.
Okay.
With the corners rounded. And it looked to be about 3/4 of a mile up, maybe a mile up, something like that.
Kind of noisy out there. Could you hear any sound?
Oh, there wasn't. There was a stoplight up there, and there wasn't any cars going by at the time.
I see.
That's why, because I really listened.
Okay, can I have your name, sir?
Sure, Jeff.
Okay, how'd you happen to get our number?
My wife's brother witnessed a UFO sighting up in Camano Island a while back.
Oh.
And we tried getting information, and they didn't have it, so we called him.
Oh, great.
Ted.
Oh, yes, I remember that report.
But I don't think he said anything about any pale blue lights or anything like that, though. My wife said she thinks it might have been the same type of craft, but I don't know. I never saw the one that Ted saw.
Okay, if we get any further information on this, we'll let you know.
Would you please?
Yes, we will.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for calling.
Approximately 1:45 in the morning. Big thunderstorm that night. It was right before the big thunderstorm came through. Of course, it was drizzling rain at the time. The car was just dim. It had a row of lights on each side. And one row was green and the other was reddish orange in color. And it had a big spotlight, or a beacon light, some kind of type of light at the point of it up under. Spotlight? Look. Something of that nature, yeah. Shining down.
Did you see any sort of structure of the object itself?
Yeah, it was triangular.
So the thing we saw in the newspaper the other day was the thing that you described, right?
I didn't see it.
It was like, I think it was in the Observer. They had
I believe Ron has a picture of Newton Grove police officer drew, and it's the
exact same thing that you saw.
That I saw.
Now, how far away is Newton Grove from the spot where you were?
Where is Newton Grove at?
Newton Grove is about, 80 miles from here? 80 miles. It's Sampson County.
Where were you at when you saw it?
Approximately, I was right in the city limits, on the outskirts of the city limits.
How far away from you would it have been, do you reckon?
I'd say a good 200 yards, 200 to 300 yards, something like that.
What, over the roadway or off?
No, off to the right.
Did you stop the car?
Yeah,
and
shut it off.
And, all right, now, did you hear any sound?
Didn't hear no sound.
And did that make you a little bit more curious about what you were looking at?
Sure did. That's what made me so curious.
Yeah.
And was it moving at that stage?
It was hovering.
Now, when it did move fast, or did it just slowly?
It was gone.
Really fast.
How long would it have been hovering when you were looking at it? A couple of minutes?
Well, When I first got a glimpse of it, it was off from a distance from there. I tried to get up closer to it when I first stopped the car and got out. It stood there for, I guess, anywhere from 5 to 10 seconds. And it was, in other words, it didn't stay there long when I stopped the car.
Did it vanish like that, or did you see it move away?
I seen it move away, but it did go in a horizontal position.
Hey, Ron.
What do you think it was? I mean, could it have been an aircraft?
I don't think so.
What color was this light on the top?
That was a bright light. That's the front of it.
Yeah.
And it just come up and just turned like that.
Were you in the car during the whole time, or did you stop the car at all to get out and see it?
Oh, yeah, I stopped and got out and watched. I thought it was coming right over. It come up 5 or 600 feet there, and it just turned like that.
Did it make any noise that you could hear?
No. No motor sound at all.
And did this thing have any kind of light or beam of light coming down from it at all that you could see?
Not shining down on the dirt. Just that. It was right out in front of it, just like an airplane.
Yeah. Was it pulsating at all, or was it a constant light?
It was burning. They want a blink in their own. They want a light on it.
The thing is awfully quiet, huh?
Yeah.
How big do you think the thing was? Could you estimate?
Well, it was. I don't believe it was quite as big as a small aircraft. Just up front.
Now, Phil Stanton said that he didn't think it was much bigger than his car.
Well, it looked a little bigger than a car.
Yeah.
I sitting right here on 1727, and it was coming right direct, straight down this road here. And it got near about the 301. It crossed I-95. It just turned and went back. It turned and went back towards your fist.
And that's probably when Phil saw it, as it was passing that way.
It turned there. It was coming right. I was sitting right here at the stop sign on 301. It come right up with the width of a telephone pole. It got right about there's a telephone pole right here on 301 and the next one down here. It just come right straight towards me that way, and it just turned like that.
Could you see what it was made out of?
No, you couldn't tell nothing about what it was made out of.
You could see the shape of it, though?
Yeah, you could tell it was in a beak shape. Like.
How many colored lights were altogether?
Well, I never counted the lights on it. I think.
But how many colors? Was there a white light?
2.
And a red light?
Red and green, and then the bright light. There's 3 different colors. Of course, just that bright light in front of it. Well, the one right in front was just like a headlight on an automobile. It's shining right straight out in front of it. Now, somebody said they'd seen one shining down, but I ain't never seen one.
How long did this all take from the time you saw it to the time?
Well, now, from the time I seen it and getting out to the highway north was about 8 minutes. And whenever it turned and started back towards Fayetteville, well, that's when we got an automobile, and we started off, and we picked up 75 mile an hour. I was right beside it, and then he started picking up speed, and I got up to 100, and it just licked. If the Army will show me where they got something like that and show me how to take it up and sound that it made, then I'll say that's what it was, but I won't say it is.
Yeah,
it ain't no airplane. Now, it had these little lights.
Yeah.
These little lights around it.
Okay, and
these little lights around here.
Okay, and what color? Were they all the same, or did they alternate?
Well, they was red and green.
They were red and green.
Different colors.
Now, when you were watching it, did they seem to go on and off, or were they pretty consistent?
They didn't blink a bit. That's what I say. They just stayed on.
They did stay on.
They didn't blink it up. I just wished it'd land. Let me go through it and see what it is. It didn't bank me a bit. If it had banked, I could have seen under it good. But it just turned.
It was a bright white and amber light. And this was appeared to be at treetop level. I observed it through binoculars. Looking, well, I would describe it, I was traveling south and I was looking more like a northeasterly direction. And this bright white, the amber light was illuminating the perimeter. It was so brilliant, if there was any running lights along the perimeter of it, it was drowning them out or they would blow the tree level. This was seen about a minute and a half before I saw it and rolling by a rolling city policeman, which is 15 to 20 miles south of us, and a minute and a half after I saw it by an officer at St. Paul's 10 miles north, and they were describing exactly the same thing I saw.
Well, speed limit here is 55 miles an hour. Where I'm running that, I was running about 50 or 55 when it came down. whole, this area right here was dark, and the whole, both sides of the road lit up, and just like it was daylight.
The section where we are right here.
Where I'm at right now. And I travel on, there's a trailer park up above us about 300 yards. I travel on the hit and I pull over and I stop my tow car, got out and looked up in there, and the light was so bright I had to look back, and I reached back in the car and I got my those binoculars I had in the car, and I looked up at it. And then I got an airplane landing light. I came off the tow car and I shined it up at it, and I blinked the light at it, and it blinked back. And I take another look at it. Good look at it with the binoculars. Then it moved at a west, and my way to the west towards Lumberton, and as it moved away from me, I followed it about 2 miles, and I went out of sight.
About how fast would you say it was going when it left?
I got up to 85 or 90, and it left me.
About how high was it at this time?
It had time, it went up in there, back up about, way up about, I'd say, well, when it left me, it started with, after I flashed the light, I flashed the light on it, went up, straight up in there, and then went out, moved out about, I'd say a good 200 miles an hour, because it just walked right away from me.
Chief, when you first observed the object, did it come from any particular direction, or did it rise from the trees?
They come right down over, right down on top of it, like it was supposed to hit the car. And that's what I pulled over.
About how close would you say it got to you?
About 200 feet.
So you did get a good look at it?
I got a good look at it.
Can you kind of describe the craft for me?
It was a V-shape. Had lights all the way around it with the big light. Looked to be about the size of a double size of a steering wheel of a car that was shining down the beam of the light. It would light up. It was about, I'd say, at least 500 feet on both sides of the road. It just lit up in a circle that big.
Did it make any sound at all?
Not a bit. Didn't hear anything. Yeah.
Did it at any time just stop and hover in midair?
Just this one time that it stopped while I was stopped. It stayed stopped about 5 minutes.
So you don't think it could have been a jet or any kind of aircraft like that?
A jet can't park in the air. A weird jet can park in the air. Actually, a jet can't fly 200 feet. He can't fly 200 feet to start with. If he clips the trees off.
So you are positive it wasn't any kind of conventional aircraft then?
It was not no aircraft. Not that we have. I saw a lot of them, but I've never saw anything like that, and it was not a helicopter. If it had been a helicopter, you would have saw the propellers on it. It's on out.
What caused you to blink your light at it?
I decided I'd blink to see if it was someone in it, if they'd blink it back at me.
I was heading south on 1166, which is near my home. In fact, I was on my way to have lunch or supper when we spotted the craft to the northeast. I immediately gave pursuit and soon overtook the craft. It hovered along the side of the roadway approximately 100 yards away. As it was dark, I stepped outside of the vehicle and with my right arm took the light switch and switched the lights on and off, and sure enough I got a response from the front headlight or spotlight from the vehicle having 2 spotlights on it, one on the front and one on the back. It then proceeded to move in a southwesterly direction, and I turned around to give pursuit again, but soon lost sight of the craft as it disappeared behind trees. I must say this, that I did get within 100 yards of the craft and was able to get it to signal back to me with its front headlight. Being 100 yards away, there's no possibility that it could have been mistaken for a Delta aircraft or any other man-made aircraft for that matter. I have never seen anything like it before.
Well, we were on Philadelphia Road headed north and just driving along at an ordinary speed, and I was driving the car, and I was the first one to see it. I observed what I thought to be 5 big lights. I would say, or guess, to be about 100 feet in the air. And the moment I focused my eyes on them, it appeared that they were maybe going at a speed of about 50 miles an hour, and then they speeded up like 100 miles an hour. And I went to telling my wife and 2 daughters to look and see those lights, and they did. And momentarily, I'd taken my eyes back off of them to make a turn, a right-hand turn, and my wife and daughter, they kept their eyes focused on it, and they observed it going. It was in a downward position, like headed towards the ground, and we followed it, and it went down behind a house, and I would say a 16 to 24-inch streak behind them, behind each one of them. I couldn't determine if there was smoke, but it didn't appear to be smoke behind each one of them. It didn't even look like a flame. It was just a beautiful streak behind each one of them. And we had church at 6:30, and it was 5:15 at that time, and I thought by the time we could get home and get dressed, it would be time for church. But obviously we ran into something we didn't anticipate running into. These people, they don't tell you come up with any kind of little story. It's got to be something that excites you whenever you see something like this. I really don't think they, at any time, the trees even bothered them. I think they were high up enough, and I think that they were in a position to totally miss the trees in the house that we talked about.
Got a big light in the center of it, and that light is as bright as anything that I have ever seen. Yeah, right. Bright as I've never seen a light as bright as I've seen searchlights for on airports. Right. But I've never seen a light as bright as that thing. Which way did that light shine? It was shining right down towards the ground.
Okay, and what color were all of these lights?
Different color lights. There was blue lights, there were red lights, there's all different color lights on it. It didn't have no sound whatsoever.
Now, how did you determine that? Like, did you go outside at all?
I was sitting here. I was sitting in the building here when I seen the thing come up there.
Did you go out at all just to see if you could get like a closer look at it?
Oh yeah, I went outside there and I couldn't hear a thing on it. We got a system right there. If there's any noise at all, I hear to pick it up.
Oh really? Right.
So it'll pick it up. An automobile crosses that bridge down yonder. Anybody walks by down back of that plant down yonder, that'll pick it up.
Well, you mean you've got microphones set up down there that pick this up and then transfer the sound back here?
Right. I just walked right out here in this driveway.
Yeah.
When I saw the thing.
Where was it coming from?
It came from back in here towards the CS-95 highway back in here, and someone told me they traveled that 95 or something. They come across here, raised a canal right down here to the back of this plant down here.
Yeah.
And that's where he was at. He just was above the treetops. I thought he was touching the treetops.
Yeah.
No sound whatsoever. No, he came right up down here, and it just looked like it just come up there and stopped there for a little bit.
Over what? Over the building over here?
Well, right was going by the corner of this building where you see that light in front of that front office.
Yeah.
He was just beyond here over there.
Right.
He looked like he just came up there and stopped. And sat up for a little bit, and then he started moving up and over, and I never seen nothing move like they move. An airplane can't come up there and do that, or a helicopter, neither one, without me hearing it.
Now, tell me what happened when the lights went out. When was that?
It happened 2 nights. That thing came back close 2 different nights, on Tuesday night and Wednesday night. Both times it came from the same direction, and it went back across the same direction that it came from. All of these lights here on the front of the plant there, that's the lights that went out.
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights here. Now, where are these lights powered from? Like, are they powered by the same source that these lights over here
Same lights that those are down here.
Were they're
still burning.
They were still on?
They were still on. Those was out.
And yet they're all powered by the same source?
That's right. The light stayed out as long as that thing was hovered down there, and when it left, the lights came back on. I'd say at least 5 minutes they were out there. But it was just as plain as this object you got in your hand here.
Yeah.
Sitting right out there in there. Just, if it hadn't been touching the treetops, it didn't miss much, because it was right down on it. Yeah, if it was in a plane, I would have heard it. A helicopter, it comes up there and stops. It's going to make a noise. It's going. That motor's got to run to hold it up there in the air, and that thing did not have no noise whatsoever.
Report to State Patrol about 3 weeks ago. Do you have my file there, or whatever it was?
Was this the triangular-shaped object?
Right.
Okay.
And the reason I'm calling, I almost forgot about it, you know, and then I just picked up the Inquirer, and I'll be damned if his description didn't exactly match the thing that I saw.
Well, this is the one seen in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, their description is exactly, except for the color of the lights.
Okay, well, could we get the description of what you saw right from the beginning?
Okay, my girlfriend saw it, too. We were both, you want the whole story?
Yes.
Okay. We were driving up on Camano Island,
right,
and we saw what we thought was an airplane crashing. Okay, so, I mean, being logical and rational people, we stopped at kind of a crossroads type thing there where you can take an upper road or lower road, or we could go backwards. So if the plane crashed, you know, we'd get away from the explosion and everything.
Yes. So
we stopped there to decide what to do, you know, where the thing was coming down at. As I was looking up at it, you know, I was just scanning the thing. And the reason we were sure it was an airplane was because of the flashing red light and the two headlights, like landing lights, right?
Right.
I mean, I've seen enough airplanes. I know what landing lights are, the big beams that come down and everything.
Right.
And all of a sudden it dawned on me, you know, as I was looking up at it, I was looking at the lights, and the lights were going straight ahead. So the thing wasn't crashing at all. It was just giving, you know, the appearance of crashing. But what it was actually doing was flying level just above, you know, just above the treetops.
Yes.
So I said, okay, no sweat. And about this time, it was flying very slow. About this time, I said, Karen, there's no sound to that thing. You know, we were in our car and everything. I said, there's no sound. And then we looked up, and there wasn't any body to it. Now that's what, anyway, this was what I said. Now, you said, didn't you say there wasn't any body to?
Well, it looks as if you could see kind of...
Right, it looked as if you could almost see through the middle of it. And this is how, anyway, it had that type of appearance where we knew it wasn't anything that we'd ever seen before. We knew it wasn't, no wings, and it was triangular, right? You know, I mean, we could really see it well because it was almost right over us.
Yes.
And at that point, we decided that it wasn't anything that we wanted to have anything to do with. I mean, it literally scared the hell out of me.
Uh-huh.
And so I just stepped on the gas and got the hell out of there. And then, as I was driving away, I said, God, you know, we really should follow that thing and see what it does. And by the time we turned around, it was gone.
I see.
And so I immediately reported it. Now, if you want a full description of it, triangular with flashing red light in between the two big, I call them headlights, and the Inquirer called them searchlights, whatever, the big beams coming out of the front.
Yes.
Okay, I wouldn't swear on a stack of Bibles, but I had the impression from looking up at it that there was no body to the inside. How do you like that?
Well, in other words, you feel that the center was just completely hollow.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Okay. But now Karen at the time didn't observe that. So I'm not perfectly sure of my judgment on that, you know.
Yes.
Okay. What have I forgotten, Karen? The big beams, triangular lights all the way around it. I mean, like not like three lights. The lights were all the way around the perimeter of it.
Okay, how about the color of those lights again?
Okay, those were just regular lights.
White?
That's white lights.
White lights, okay.
They do not match what they evidently saw in North Carolina.
Yes. Were the lights continuous?
Were the lights continuous? They were, weren't they? Yeah, they were continuous.
Okay.
That's right. I mean, the only one that blinked was the red one in the middle.
Okay.
And like I said, I mean, we thought it was an aircraft to begin with until the last minute.
Uh-huh.
Pure speculation now. Something had to give the appearance of the thing crashing for us. Therefore, I don't think it was flying parallel to the ground. You know what I mean? I think it was tilted.
I see.
Because to give the appearance of crashing, it would seem to be the rear lights and it would be slanted up, whereas the headlights would be coming straight out. Because I was sure of the headlights coming straight out, because that's when I no longer feared the plane crashing or whatever it was. You see what
Yes.
Do you have a picture in your mind what I'm talking about? It wasn't very high at all, and it was traveling very slow, too slow for any normal aircraft, except for, of course, a helicopter, which can hover. But a helicopter at that distance, you'd definitely hear and everything else.
Uh-huh.
And we would have seen the props. Or, we were looking for anything on the thing, but it was just a solid mass. Or at least the perimeter of the thing was. Okay, well,
do you have any visual estimates regarding how far away it was?
Okay, you take your ordinary tree. Whatever. What's the height of about an ordinary cedar tree? Yeah. What are they, fir? And just the average fir tree in a forest, and double it.
I see. Okay.
All right, double or triple it, somewhere right in there.
That's still pretty low.
Yeah, very low.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
Do you have any visual estimate regarding size?
Okay, size, Karen. It was bigger than the one that they saw. Yeah, they said the size of a Cadillac, and ours was bigger than that. And the one that we saw was bigger than that. It wasn't much bigger than that. I'd say about 2 car lengths in length, and maybe car length and a half in width.
Okay.
You're going to have to translate those things into feet, just roughly.
Uh-huh. Would there be any possibility of getting a drawing of this from you?
Yeah, in fact, we made one right after we saw it, if we still have it. How do you like that?
That's great.
Karen, do we still have that drawing that we made right after we saw it? Yeah. We made it up at Camano right after we saw it. I'd have to go up there and check to make sure that we still have it.
I see.
With my mother cleaning, I don't know when she got it. Yeah.
Okay, now, have you determined exactly what part of the island you were on at the time?
Yeah, it's Sunrise Boulevard.
Now, is that, what side of the island is that?
Okay, that would be the inside of the island facing Warm Beach. You know where Warm Beach is on the mainland there? Do you have a map?
Warm Beach?
Yeah, it's facing Warm Beach.
Okay.
Okay. Do you have a map there?
Not right here, no, but I have checked it on a map, and I couldn't find the name of that road on the map.
Yeah, that's because they just put it in this last year.
I see, okay.
Okay, so you won't find that road there except on an absolutely completely new map.
Okay.
All right, so it's the inside of the island facing, what direction would that be facing, Karen? Facing east. Well, the road that leads up where we saw the UFO. Which way was the UFO coming?
UFO was going northwest, or northwest.
Yeah, the UFO was heading north to northwest.
Okay.
And we were looking at it. It seemed to come right over us, and we were situated at that time right there on the west side of the island, right? Okay, right as you come onto the island, right? All right, we're on the east side of the island, okay. Right as you come on the island, there's a main road, and on any map, that road will fork. It will fork either left or right.
Right.
And we began seeing it right there at the fork.
Right at the fork, okay. That's
okay.
Fine.
And then we didn't quite stop at the fork. We took a left turn on the fork. Okay? And then there's another branch in the road, and it was right at that branch where we finally stopped to make our decision of which way to go to get away from the crashing, which we thought at that time was an airplane.
Okay.
And it was coming, like I said, it was coming right over us, heading towards, kind of like it was heading towards Whidbey Island, right?
I see, okay. About how long do you feel you observed that?
Okay, how long did we observe that? Yeah, about 3 minutes, I'd say, 4 minutes. But we didn't stay to watch it, remember. As soon as we saw that it was something unidentified and we didn't know what it was, we made it.
Do you notice any interference with the car at the time? Was the car radio?
No. Now, this was another reason that we didn't want to stay. Because I've heard about things like this happening before, and it was a dark road and a dark night. And we just weren't prepared for any kind of unusual happening.
Yes.
And there wasn't anything that did happen. There was another car that came down the other road, and it seemed to be, from what we could observe, it wasn't having any type of interference at all. There was, it was just, there was no contact made at all.
And did you report this to any agency other than the State Patrol?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Oh, you want me to?
No, that's fine.
I had to borrow money to phone it into the State Patrol. It was long distance, so believe me, I was pretty, we were pretty shook up.
Well, I can understand that. It takes a person by surprise,
Yeah. Well, if it happened again, I'd definitely stay and observe the whole thing, because I've been wanting to see one all my life. And then it comes to the final moment, and what do? I check it out. So.
Well, I've often wondered what it would happen if I saw one myself. So.
Well, I'm going to be kicking myself in the rear end now for a long time. And I write things off pretty easy. I mean, if I didn't just grab an Inquirer, I probably never would have called you guys about it back. But their description, it's just, okay, it seemed to be triangular V-shape. I could make out reddish lights on one side, okay, or green on the other. That didn't miss. There was no sound at all, same as mine. Had one big spotlight, the first guy says, and the other one says, two big spotlights. V-shaped with blue lights, a ball of red light in the center. There were two big beams like searchlights. I'm reading from the Inquirer.
Yes.
Okay. Like I said, we didn't see it take off, but we went about a mile and turned around, and when we turned around, it was gone, but it was flying so low that it could have just gone into a hill or a gully or something like that.
Now, did those beams from the object, did they appear to be directed to the ground?
No, that's what I said. That's why I knew it was not crashing. They were completely parallel with the tops of the trees. When I first came out, I thought, like I said, I thought the thing was crashing. But even until I still thought it was crashing, until I focused my eyes on the beams. I mean, that's the logical thing to do, is look at the direction of the lights. And then you can tell whether it's coming down or whether it's flying level or what direction it's flying in. So until I focused my eyes on the two big beams that were coming out, I was still worried about the thing crashing. In other words, it was giving that impression of coming down, but it wasn't. It was flying parallel.
In other words, these beams were almost like headlights.
That's exactly what they were. They were like big headlights.
Right.
Or airplane landing lights.
Okay, do you think that we could get a copy of that drawing?
Yeah.
And we would also like a map, it doesn't have to be too detailed, showing your position in relation to the object and the object's movement.
All right.
And you have our address?
Did you send it when you... Did they send the address on that? Oh, I'm sure you did. You have a return address on the envelope.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So, and it might be about a week.
Oh, that's fine.
Because I have to get back up there again.
I see. Now, could we have the name of the lady that was with you?
Yeah. Well, why don't you just talk to her? Hold on.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi there. You're a lucky one. I wonder if we could get your name for additional witness.
Okay, it's Karen.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, that was really strange. I occasionally pick up the Inquirer just for something extra to read, and it was on the back page. It was this week's issue. And I took they have a drawing of it, and I took one look at that, and I said, my God, and so I quick read the article and called up Ted, says, you won't believe this. So... We
released a story in relation to that activity back in North Carolina. Would you like me to send you a copy of it?
Yes, would you?
Sure would.
Yeah, I would be interested in that.
Sure.
Yeah, because I thought, wow, and then, I can't even quite remember the date we saw this, the State Patrol. I don't know if they keep... Oh, they do. Was that about the first part of June? Was that it? Do you have the record there? I can't even quite remember if it was the first part of June or July.
It's on that card that they sent me.
No, I've got it's upstairs in the office.
Yeah, because I can't quite remember when it was. But this one from North Carolina, I think, was first part of the year or something.
Right, it was in April. They were having quite a siege of reports there.
Mm-hmm.
Very low level.
Yeah, this one was very low. Well, I'm the one, I think that when Ted was looking more at the road driving, I was looking around and I think I first spotted it and said, hey, look, there's a plane crashing. And then we both started discussing it and slowing down and so forth. So, yeah, that was something else.
Okay, can I talk to Ted again?
Okay, fine.
Thank you. Well, we sure appreciate your calling, because this is what we refer to as a classic case because of the closeness.
Right. Now, is there any chance that I can find out any more information on the stuff they saw in Carolina?
Yes, I can send you a copy of that also.
I sure appreciate it.
Yeah.
And let them know that we spotted, one in the same family anyway, down here.
Uh-huh.
Because I've never seen, I read the things, too, whenever, I'm glancing through the papers or stores or anything.
Yes.
And it seems to be so much different than any of the others that have been spotted, lately. I mean, just this one. That's why I thought it was so unusual, is the fact that I had never seen any others, shaped like this. And then all of a sudden, at the similar time, reading about these people in North Carolina that saw it.
Right. Well, this triangular shape has been seen quite a bit since the North Carolina activity, and we're just wondering if we're not dealing with an entirely new race.
Oh, yeah.
Visiting the area.
Uh-huh. Well, there's no chance that it could be military or anything like that.
No, that's been discounted completely.
Uh-huh. Well, you've been following it then for quite a while, huh?
Oh, yes. 20 years.
Not this type, though, huh?
Off and on, a triangular shape will show up. It has over the years.
With the beams and the flashing lights?
Not necessarily with the beams, no.
Yeah, see, this is what was so unusual to me, and that's why I was so convinced at the beginning that it was an airplane.
Uh-huh.
When you're convinced it's an airplane, it takes quite a bit to convince you that it's not. If you know what I mean.
That's when you stop on the gas.
That's right. Okay, well, I'll get those papers to you. Bring them out. And I hope you can give me some more information, too.
If we do, we'll let you know.
Okay, thanks an awful lot.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.